something, that's catching my eye, the colors coming together. When you got so many cells, there's so much to analyze at a moment's notice. This particular one, we're seeing gate-to-gate shear south of Fort Moore, 30 miles per hour. So, there may be some weak rotation embedded in all this rain that we're hearing moving through Russell County, Muskogee County, Chattahoochee County, and it's going to be a little difficult to pick up exactly if there's a tornado or not. So with the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place for western Muskogee County, Chattahoochee County, you just want to take these seriously and make sure that you're hunkered down and away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside. All right, let's go ahead and see one more spot I want you to check up towards Smith Station on the velocity product.
Oh, I can move it right back.
Let's see. A little bullseye there. Just could be a fluke radar scan or something like that, but it's something that we're still watching near the Glenwood School, east of 280, other side of Green Island Hills, which was hit hard earlier by a lot of lightning and thunder. Had a couple trees down, most likely from the rain earlier this morning with those couple rounds that moved through. But where we see basically the colors coming together, the green and the red, what's happening here is there's some rotation. So basically you have winds going away from the radar, winds going toward the radar, and while that's just one particular scan, it's just something as I'm moving the radar around that that kind of caught my attention for a brief moment. So let's zoom in on some of the other storms, Alley-Ann. And anything from the National Weather Service?
Nothing yet. That's what I was just looking at. They continued that severe thunderstorm warning for Barber County, even though it looks like it's, almost completely out. But they still continued that down there until 12:30 Central Time.
Yeah, it looks like it's more of a damaging wind threat. It's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. No longer a tornado possible tag being mentioned. So I think it's more of a wind and hail event with that particular storm now. Eufaula, Baker Hill. Still, it's not fun to be driving in along 431. These couple cells are kind of merging together here along the 431 corridor.
Hey, Tyler, National Weather Service just issued a tornado warning for Chattahoochee and Stewart County. Okay. So let's find that one real quick.
Okay, so that's that cell we were kind of watching south side of Fort Moore, I think.
Yeah, let me turn off this radar so we can get the one better look at this. There we go.
It's messy. It's not like the one earlier, Alley-Ann, in Clay County, parts of Quitman County. It's a lot messier, a lot rainier. You're not going to see, if you're on base right now, Lawson Army Airfield, really it's to your south kind of, but if you're anywhere near Casita or Renfro, you need to get into the lowest level of your home right away. You're not going to see this particular storm that may be producing the tornado, but it is certainly crossing the river now and heading toward the east. This particular one has a warning out until, let's see.
It says 1:45.
1:45, okay, hasn't even popped up on the iPad.
It says it's 12 miles west of Casita right now, and it's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour.
So it's right in here, north of Upper Bradley Place. And it's definitely showing some signs northeast of the new Mount Cannon School. Let's see, Holy Trinity. You need to be in the lowest level of your home right now, away from windows, because this is showing some clear signs of rotation. What's the velocity looking like now? It's kind of in between again, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Pretty good little couplet, perhaps trying to form there. Some broad rotation, but we can certainly see the colors that are almost touching. Gate-to-gate shear being registered, but that looks like a little more than nothing to me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Nothing from the National Weather Service on an update on that one, even though they just did issue it. They're continuing that severe thunderstorm warning for Chattahoochee and Muskogee County. That one's for North Georgia. They said another warning out, but there is that hail associated with this storm too, pushing through, and the winds are gusting around 60 miles per hour.
Okay, So, yeah, at the very least, it's a maybe ugly drive back to work for many of you. It's 1 o'clock, and we only got a brief snippet of the midday show with Dee. I've been hogging all the airtime. Sorry about that, and Alleyhan too. But we've had some serious weather to track, and we have been concerned about severe weather with this particular event today. And really, it started early this morning with some of the rain and storms coming through. Now we have another batch of rain. The atmosphere is kind of changing in the sense that the storms are looking a little different than they were earlier today. They have a little bit more of a structure to them, even the ones that are kind of congealed together. On the southern side, Fort Moore, Holy Trinity, you should be in the lowest level of your home. I think it's mainly south of Fort Moore, but still it's you're kind of in between the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning there. Casita, you need to be seeking shelter. So this is farther north along the 27 corridor than that storm that's to the south. And Alleyhan, did you have something?
No. Do you want me to put a storm track on that for you?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me pull this off. So, right about here.
Okay, so as you can see, moving toward Antioch Church, the Chattahoochee County Education Center. Check the speed. Can you check this? Is the speed right? Because those times seem a little bit. Or is it because we're right on the border there?
I think it's because we're on the border, and I think that's what happened with Barber County earlier when you're looking at Eufaula.
Okay, so we just have to do a little math.
Just 1 hour.
Let's see. So it's right on top of Crossroads School in the next few minutes. And you can see Chattahoochee Education Center. It's going to be moving toward the east near St. Matthew's School as well. So anywhere in this particular area, we need to make sure that we are seeking shelter. And it is raining like crazy across Muskogee County, Chattahoochee County. You're not going to see this particular tornado if it's in here. It doesn't include Columbus, the tornado warning, but realize we have a lot of separate warnings going on. Severe thunderstorm warning goes into effect, continues in effect for Muskogee County until 1:30 with the anticipation of some very strong winds and some hail with this particular storm. So
Hey,
let's clear this.
I was going to say, Tyler, let's move down because Tallahassee just issued a tornado warning for Clay County.
Okay, Clay County again under the gun.
Yeah, so I'll pull that warning box up for us. So, yeah, right here.
Okay, yep. So this is a little farther south from earlier, but this storm is in eastern parts of Henry County, may clip southern Clay County, and you can see it, this particular storm is to the southwest of Shorterville, and as it moves toward the east and northeast, it too is looking a little bit suspect in the sense that it may be producing a tornado. Let's see what that warning velocity looks like. That warning goes in effect, let's see.
1:30.
1:30, okay. And it's moving to the east and northeast, pretty much at the same rate the others have been moving.
This one's moving in the east at 40 miles per hour.
Okay, 40 miles per hour. So pretty good clip, this particular storm, and there's definitely radar indicated rotation with this as well. It's near the Haleburg community, so outside of our coverage area, but we want to kind of give you that heads up if you're a little bit farther to the north, say near Bluffton, south of Fort Gaines in Clay County. The storm's still way back in southern Henry County, but we talked about this with the earlier storm that we had this training effect. So we have a front that's laid down across the Chattahoochee Valley, acting as a conveyor belt, laying down the tracks for these storms, one after the other, that is giving them the go-ahead to kind of move over the same areas, obviously producing a heavy rain and some flooding, but in addition, it's causing some concerns for severe weather as of late. In the last hour and a half or so, we've had some active tornado warnings, some severe thunderstorm warnings too. So let's turn the radar on for this, and let's see if we can put a track on that too, to show some of the communities upstream that may be impacted as it kind of goes into the Blakely area too, which is just to our south of the coverage area. But as the storm is moving through Barnes, south of Shorterville, this particular storm, as it moves east at 40 miles per hour, may get kind of close to southern Clay County. Going to be really close, but we'll go ahead and watch out near Harrison's Mill, down to the south, St. Matthew's Church, and extending farther to the south of there, where we have that tornado warning that goes in effect until 1:30 Eastern time. So these storms kind of ramping up every now and again. They're pulsing, and then they weaken a little bit, but the overall energy is there in the atmosphere for these storms to more or less keep going. And realize, again, I've said this multiple times now, but we're going to have multiple rounds of these storms that are kind of moving through. Through the afternoon, we have a tornado watch for East Alabama counties. That means everybody has to watch out for the potential of storms maybe capable of producing tornadoes in all of our Georgia counties until 7 o'clock. That watch goes, and we still may not be completely out of the woods after that. But we kind of have to take it one wave at a time. We can kind of give you the big picture. We can kind of tighten up and show you the storms as they happen. But it gets, at this point, we have to take it one storm at a time as they move through. So going farther north to that tornado warning that's in northern portions of Chattahoochee County, south of Fort Moore, and you can see heading toward Casita. That is still showing signs of a tornado, and you can see just to the north, there's a severe thunderstorm warning as well. And we actually have our mobile alert center that's on the road right now. This is driving on Macon Road, just leaving the station and going to be departing and tracking some of these storms. But obviously, with that severe thunderstorm that we have in Muskogee County, the streets are wet. You need to be extra careful as you go out and about. And those storms, as they continue to produce some heavy rain, are going to be, you're just going to have to slow down a little bit more than you normally would with the severe thunderstorm, but also the aspect that we could have some isolated flooding because of the torrential downpours and the tornadic nature of the storm. Some of these storms that may be producing a tornado, we're seeing that a couple signatures here that are coming out of Holy Trinity, moving into parts of Chattahoochee County now, and also another one maybe a little bit on the other side of the base there north of Fort Moore. So both of these, even though that one's not technically warned on, we still got to keep it on this. So the bottom line is, if it's raining and you have a severe thunderstorm warning today, even a severe thunderstorm warning, you have to treat that at this point like a tornado warning, because things can change at a moment's notice. The winds are very strong in the atmosphere. The wind fields are screaming for this time of year. We don't usually see this in the month of June. This is something more like a spring-like weather pattern. And so we certainly have that active weather to speak of. And again, a couple areas of rotation that are right along the Chattahoochee River from about Fort Moore down to the south toward Holy Trinity, moving toward the east and slightly to the northeast as well. These particular storms, as they cross the river, going into Chattahoochee County. So Casita, I need you to stay in the lowest level of your home, away from windows, and make sure you put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Here's a look at the radar picture right now, and we can see some of the storms that are certainly producing a lot of heavy rain. These are rain wrapped. These are producing a lot of lightning, and you're not going to see these on, you're not going to see if there's a tornado in them near Fort Moore, south of Fort Moore, Holy Trinity. You're not going to see that particular structure to the storm. You're going to basically want to make sure you're seeking shelter away from windows, lowest level of your home. Heavy rain continues up 185 in Columbus, also near the Civic Center, down 431. No formal warning here, but it's certainly not a fun storm to be driving in with the heavy rain coming through. So let's just widen out, reset a little bit, and Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid also walked in the building, so we got all hands on deck kind of coming in. But you can see the warnings, the wide view of the warnings showing what's active right now. Several warnings. We have severe thunderstorm warnings that go just a little bit longer for Eufaula. Severe thunderstorm warning goes for a little longer, 15, 20 minutes or so for Muskogee and northern Chattahoochee County. But the areas that we're really concerned about are these 3 tornado warnings, and that stretch across Chattahoochee County, Randolph County, and into southern parts of Clay County as well. So I'm going to toss it over to meteorologist Derek Kincaid. He's going to give us some of his latest analysis.
Tyler, thanks. I'm on mic 6, by the way. I think we got that up perfect. So, yeah, look, we've been in coverage here for a little while. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, numerous tornado warnings that we're tracking for you today. And as Tyler's been talking about, as the weather team has been talking about for the past few days, this is very atypical for summertime. This is not something that we usually see. When you look at the winds in the upper parts of our atmosphere, they are screaming today, and they are as strong as folks have ever seen them this time of year. So that's the setup that we have, and that's why we're dealing with an almost spring-like outbreak of severe weather, including a few tornado warnings here along the way. Thankfully, again, we've had some radar-confirmed tornadoes. We haven't had any reports coming in our chat with the National Weather Service about a lot of damage, but these are, again, make no mistake, supercell thunderstorms that are moving into the Chattahoochee Valley, a very spring-like setup as we talked about. Let's tell you what, if we can put Max 2 in the box here instead of Max 1, we'll talk about some of the active warnings in place, give us that big picture view, too, of what's going on across the Chattahoochee Valley, because we certainly have a lot of active weather now, but remember, this is a setup that's going to continue to produce strong to severe storms throughout the course of the evening into tonight, maybe even into the overnight hours too. There could be even additional storms that have some wind concerns a bit later on tonight. So we'll get to all that. But in the short term, it's the tornado warnings that we're concerned about. You see the 3 that we have in place now. Southern Chattahoochee, extreme northern Stewart County, that goes out till 1:45 Eastern. The one for southern Randolph County, that one expires 1:30 Eastern time. And we've got that warning on the far southern fringe of our coverage area. It does include areas from Fort Gaines and Point South and Clay County. That one goes out till 12:30 Eastern time. So that one, 12:30 Central time. So that's 1:30 Eastern time. So again, all tornado warnings either expiring 1:30 or 1:45. That's the setup now. Let's look at the watches that we have in place, because once again, the entire area under a tornado watch, the entire Chattahoochee Valley, also parts of central Alabama. These watches, I believe, expire at 7 Eastern time. So through the course of the evening, that's when the ingredients for at least tornadoes are going to be at their highest. Those winds in the atmosphere, the instability or the energy that's available for these storms to draw from, and the spin that we have in the atmosphere, which again is not very typical for a summer day. It is certainly in place on this June afternoon. So that's what we're looking at with the current watches. Also notice back further to our west, severe thunderstorm watches, North Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma. This tells us again that the threat is ongoing and will continue at times into the evening and tonight. In fact, we haven't taken a look at this in a little bit. Let's check out the futurecast. This is the high-res, short-range look at what's going on. You can see the storms that we have in progress now. This isn't going to do a great job of picking up the exact placement because it is just a computer interpretation of what's going on, but it can give us an idea of the coverage, which is expected to stay high through the course of the afternoon into the early evening hours. You see the storms just keep coming there into tonight. And then there's a line of storms. You see that south of Montgomery, that almost comma-shaped structure there? That's the computer modeling indicating that a good area of strong, perhaps damaging winds will be moving on through during the nighttime hours. That could be impacting areas south of Highway 80 into the overnight. And then finally, it looks like most of the really stormy weather out of here by early Thursday. But look, even early Thursday, we're going to have more storms to deal with at times. It's going to be another somewhat stormy day across the valley. So let's talk now about those warnings that we have in place. Again, 3 active tornado warnings across the Chattahoochee Valley as we speak. Now, there are severe thunderstorm warnings, as we've talked about. These are still going to have areas of perhaps some hail. We're going to have, of course, plenty of heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder, and some intense winds are possible in pockets within those storms. But it's the tornado threat, I think, that's our biggest concern at the moment. We'll start to the south here, and we'll look at some of these storms. Again, you see that's a new active tornado warning. This just came out for the Eufaula area. So this is in Barber County, Quitman County, and northern Randolph County in Georgia. Let's take a look at that. That's a confirmed tornado now. So you see that blue highlight around the warning. That is a confirmed tornado crossing the Chattahoochee River very soon, heading into Quitman County. That one expires 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that, again, is a new warning that we have to tell you about. Let's take a look at that with the radar view. And there it is, south of Eufaula. That is your tornado. And again, this is a confirmed tornado. We'll pull up the debris signature here. Remember, our radar can tell the difference between rain, snowflakes, hailstones, and debris. And yeah, there's your debris right there, just south of the old Bluff City Elementary School. That's, again, an old site there in Barber County, south of the city of Eufaula along Highway 431. But the area of green that you see there, that is tornadic debris being indicated by the radar. So the radar has indicated something that the tornado has thrown up into the sky. Hopefully it's just sticks, leaves, and limbs and that sort of thing. There you see the update. And that tornado right now sitting very close to the Chattahoochee River. The black line that you see in the picture right there, that's the Chattahoochee River between Barber County, between Quitman County, and that is the site of our tornado that is, again, on the ground. This is a new tornado warning, by the way. Let's query this. We'll get some wind speeds in here for you. And, yeah, these could be winds approaching 80, 90 miles per hour. With that particular storm. Again, you're always not going to be able to sample the exact winds of the tornado. That's not what this is for, but it does show us that circulation. You see the shades of green there and the shades of red touching one another. The green, the wind's blowing toward the radar. The red, the wind's blowing away from the radar. When you get that close together, it's a telltale sign of circulation, of rotation, and that's what we're looking at right now. But again, it's easy to pick out, too, with the debris signature here showing what has been lofted into the sky from that storm about to cross the Chattahoochee River. If you're in Georgetown, you need to seek shelter immediately. That's, again, over in Quitman County. You've got the restaurant there, Michelle's Restaurant in Georgetown. You've got Quitman County Elementary School around that area. Thankfully, again, school's out of course for the summer. But look, if you've got summer camps, different things like that going on, programs at the local libraries, if you're in these tornado-warned areas, you need to go through that safety plan just as you would if you were in a school setting. If you've got the kids, they need to be out in the hallways, into the smaller rooms, the bathrooms, the closets, the hallways. If you've got them, small rooms on the lowest floor of whatever building that you happen to be in. We want you away from windows if you can, and we definitely don't want you in a mobile home. We don't want you out driving around or trying to drive around when you've got tornado-warned storms around. So nobody needs to be rushing to go pick up kids when you go under that warning. Everybody stay put, stay in those safe places until this thing passes you by. But again, that is a tornado warning south of the city of Eufaula. This does not include, or at least the tornado itself, probably not including Eufaula. But I tell you what, let's go over to our Skycam view if we can. Afton, I don't know if we can pull up our Skycam. I'm going to pull up the Eufaula view here, and we're going to see if we can see anything on the camera. So we'll just, whenever you guys get that up, we can pull it up. So again, here's the LaGrange view. Let me see if we've got our, I don't know where we are with that. I don't know if that's channel 1 guys on the camera or not, but I tell you what, if we can pull up that Eufaula camera, that would be fantastic. That's we're looking at plenty of heavy rain now in the city. I'll just tell you what we're kind of seeing there. Plenty of heavy rain in the city. The tornado itself is going to be south of the city of Eufaula, though. So we don't see it on the Skycam, but we do see intense rain, lots of lightning, some very heavy winds. And again, that is in the city of Eufaula right now. But south of town, that's where our potential tornado is located. So, and I look, we're saying potential tornado. This is a tornado. This is a tornado that has been indicated by radar on the ground, causing issues, causing concerns. In fact, the latest from the National Weather Service saying, yeah, the cell in Barber County is a TDS. It's what they call a tornado debris signature. So it is showing debris right now. And there's the update for you on the radar just south of downtown Eufaula. You need to be in your safe place now. This is heading towards Georgetown, should cross Highway 82 here pretty soon. And again, that's just one of the several tornado warnings that we have to tell you about. We'll spend a little time talking about this one because we know it's confirmed, we know it's on the ground. But again, if you are in the city of Georgetown, if you are in northern Quitman County, we want you to be in a safe place absolutely as soon as possible. Let's pull up again, I'll pull up the warnings here for you, and there you see the areas out ahead of this. Now look, this also extends over into northern Randolph County, areas north of Cuthbert, Benevolence, there along Highway 27 as you head into and out of the county, really all of Highway 82 there through Quitman County. Those areas need to be in a safe place immediately with a confirmed tornado that we're tracking for you. Again, the Weather Service has their eye on this one. It is observed, it is confirmed, so be in a safe place now. This is not potential, this is not possible. This is a life-threatening situation if you're in Quitman County or if you're in areas south of Eufaula along Highway 431. Be in a safe place now. All right, we've got the Eufaula camera up. So this is, I'm going to spin this around, by the way, guys. So I'm controlling it back here in the weather office. We'll do a quick pan of this to see if we can just see anything. You see those low-hanging clouds there with the camera. No sign of the tornado from our point of view. But again, these things are going to be wrapped in rain today. They're going to be very hard to see, very hard to detect if you're looking at them with a camera, if you're on the ground trying to observe these things. Don't do that, by the way. Don't try to look around and get out and see these things. Just go ahead and seek shelter as soon as you possibly can when that warning goes out. Don't try to see it. Don't try to go out and find these things, because it's going to be a very difficult thing to do when you're talking about these storms being wrapped in rain. They will be very, very hard to detect for you. So again, that's our view from our John Foy Alert Center Skycam down in Eufaula. At the moment, not seeing anything, but we, again, don't expect to see much when it comes to that particular warning. So, all right, let's go back over to, Max 2 here. Thank you very much. And let's talk about that big picture. Again, this is the Next Gen Radar Network. Here's our new radar, by the way, out of Americas. As these storms approach that area, it is going to be very interesting to check that out, because this is going to provide us with a view of these storms that we've never really had before. We've been showing you this on the television side when we have rain, when we have storms, but now we're talking about the ability to see these storms in a way that we have not been able to previously. So as those storms approach that radar, we'll be able to get a better look. In fact, looking at that storm that's prompting the tornado warning in Chattahoochee County, we're getting a good low-level view of that. Heavy rain right now in Casita. The warning itself, including areas from Casita and Point South, anywhere along Highway 27, anywhere along Highway 280 as you break out of Casita and head south down into Stewart County. That's a tornado warning that we have our eye on. That one not confirmed by radar, but we still want you in your safe place regardless. And again, we are monitoring all different kinds of information here about what's happening with our weather today. So right now we have a couple of active warnings. The tornado warning we just showed you there south of Casita. We've got a confirmed tornado moving into Quitman County, Georgia right now. And then we've got the tornado warning storm coming through southern parts of Randolph County. That includes Coleman. That does include parts of Cuthbert. The tornado warning does not include the city of Shellman, but still, if you're in Shellman, heads up, this thing could be moving into your location at some point. So let's get a different radar perspective here for you. Zooming back in, we'll take a look at that radar to the south. And again, these storms look like a springtime type scenario. These things look like those spring supercell thunderstorms that we often, again, talk about when we have our big severe weather events. That's why we wanted to treat this day a lot differently. We declared it an Alert Center Action Day a long time ago. We wanted to make sure you knew that this is a different kind of summer storm scenario. These are not your typical storms. In fact, I've never seen anything like this on a summer day around here. This is mainly reserved, again, for your March, your April, your early May, even some events that we have sometimes in the fall. But we've got multiple supercell thunderstorms, all with at least some tornado potential that we are watching for you across the Chattahoochee Valley. So really 3 storms of concern at the moment. One in Chattahoochee County, one coming across the river right now near Eufaula, and one coming into southern Clay County. This storm in Randolph County that had the warning looking a little more suspect as of right now. We're going to keep an eye on that for you. That still has an active warning, but it looks like the worst of that storm perhaps has passed on. Let's look at the velocity views on that. And it's still showing some sort of signature there, but you're looking at this thing pretty far away from that radar site. I tell you what, we'll look at it with our Americas radar view, and still getting some circulation. It's still kind of in between those radar sites, but if you're sitting on Highway 82 there just to the east of downtown Cuthbert, that's where we want you to be in a safe place now. And then out ahead of that, up toward Trinity Church, Mount Zion Church. As we mentioned, this does not include the city of Shellman, but this is going to, again, cross pretty parallel with 82 for a little while as that storm continues to move off to the east. All these storms moving today, by the way, about 40 miles per hour or so. So not terribly fast, but still, you want to give yourself enough time to get to where you need to go ahead of time because, again, you get under one of these warnings, you have minutes to react in some cases. We want you to be in that good, safe spot. But let's go down and talk about the main storm of concern, and that's our tornado warning storm that's coming through parts of Quitman County, Georgia right now. So there's Georgetown. Let's put the debris here back up for you. And there's still plenty of debris being indicated by this particular storm sitting on Highway 82 right now. It looks like the worst of it has crossed out of Barber County. I'm not going to give you the all clear yet. Still stay in that safe place for a little while longer, especially those areas along the river in Barber County. We want you to be in a safe spot. But it looks like the worst of the weather has moved out of Barber County. In fact, the National Weather Service expiring that tornado warning now for Barber County. So if we put those warnings back up here for you, you'll see, and that should go away in just a second. It's just Quitman and northern Randolph counties right now that have the warning. And that's the only confirmed tornado that we have, by the way. That's the good news for you tonight. Let's get a quick big picture view, then we'll send it back to Tyler here in just a bit, but we'll show the big picture across the Chattahoochee Valley. Here showing numerous showers, numerous storms here across the Chattahoochee Valley, and these again producing the potential for large hail, the potential for damaging winds, and because of that tornado watch, we are monitoring for that tornado potential as well across the Chattahoochee Valley. These storms will keep coming. This is just one batch of them. We had round one this morning. You could consider this round two, and there are more forming back to the north and to the west of us. Hopefully, once we get this batch out of the way, we will have a bit of a break in the action before we see another round of those strong to severe storms moving through a little bit later on tonight. To remind everyone, there is still a tornado watch in place across the entire coverage area. This goes out till 7 Eastern time. We will see if there's any sort of extension of this watch as we get into the night, but certainly a thunderstorm or wind threat could materialize after our tornado threat is over. So do not let your guard down today when it comes to these storms, as we are talking about the potential again for a widespread severe weather type event, which really we've already seen across parts of the Chattahoochee Valley here. One more radar view. We'll send it back to Tyler on the wall in just a moment. Numerous storms that we're tracking for you. Let me turn our America's radar off to get a closer view in of those other storms that we're watching. And yeah, so there's another storm like here coming in out of near Headland, Alabama. That's out of our coverage area. That too looks like it could produce a tornado. There's your hook echo moving into southern Clay County. These two storms, by the way, very close to that radar site down at Fort Rucker, or what once was called Fort Rucker, and those are storms that we will be watching for you over the next little bit. So that's the radar view as it stands now. Still those warnings in place, and again, I think the storm of concern for now, that storm down in Quitman County, Georgia, passing near Georgetown, crossing over the northern parts of Quitman County. Tyler, we're going to send it back to you on the weather wall for more.
Yes, thank you very much, Derek. And so we're looking at the several showers and thunderstorms that are capable of producing that severe weather, including tornadoes. Just remarkable to see all these tornado warnings. Just uncanny, really, to see all this activity this afternoon now at this point. So it's 1:30 and we're seeing some showers and thunderstorms. I do want to show you this one confirmed tornado that kind of kicked everything off at 10:40. It's not a visual, but it maybe on a map it is. It was near Abbeville, and it kind of moved toward Clay County. And then after that, we had several showers and thunderstorms that kind of looked at really like they were rotating quite a bit. So again, we have several storms that we're watching. This one particular one over the Casita area, we actually have our Mac that is driving through that at the moment, or very near there along the 27 corridor. If we can take a look at that, Walter is out and about in the Mac and seeing some heavy rain nonetheless, and certainly some very gusty winds. And so again, you could see it's the rain is certainly blowing sideways there in that particular case, and we're noticing that it's very close to one of the tornado signatures where he's at on the mobile alert center there on Highway 27 in Casita, near Casita, heading south, and I believe he's heading toward the Richland area. So that's where we're watching at this particular moment. So if we could come back to the radar network, and we'll see that these showers and storms, as it's kind of in between the radar here to the west in Montgomery and our new Americas radar, but as these storms cross the river, there's several areas that we want to watch. Let's zoom in on that one, start from the north in velocity mode, and see what we have with this particular cell that's near the Casita area, now passing to the east. South and east of Casita, that's where we have that particular rotation that's still very imminent. And so if you are anywhere in the southern Chattahoochee County area, northern portions of Stewart County, you need to make sure you take shelter, and you need to still continue to take shelter. Now, Buena Vista, you're still a ways away from this particular cell, but that's something that we're going to want to think in the back of our minds. Down the road, we could be talking about you being under the gun parts of Marion County in a little bit. But again, we're not to that point yet, but I want you to keep a watchful eye on this because it has the general trajectory. This particular cell came from Holy Trinity, south of Fort Moore, and moving right into southern portions of Chattahoochee County. On that trajectory, if it were to hold together of some sorts, it would head into Marion County. Okay, farther south we go, and we look at the next storm that's basically on top of the Cuthbert area. And again, where we have the red and the green coming close together, that's where we have a rotation. That's where we have a clear circulation showing up on the radar, on our radar network. And where we have the reds, that's the winds going away from the radar, and the winds going toward the radar are in green. And so right in here is where we have some of the rotation. This is under the gun. You are under the gun. If you're in the Cuthbert area, you should still be seeking shelter right away. Let's go down to the south and look at our next particular storm that's that's crossed the Eufaula area over the last little bit, and it's much weaker as it's moved into Quitman County near Kegler School. So let's go farther south than that, because we have that other tornado warning in Clay County. I believe that's the next one that's right on the southern part of the county. Have a little bit of that rotation that's to the west of Bluffton, that's generally heading toward the 27 corridor. So a lot of these storms right now are finding their way near the Highway 27 corridor, and then as you extend a little bit farther south of there, we're seeing that storm too. All right, let's see if we can put the reflectivity mode on and look at this particular storm. We're going to watch that one. This particular area east of Headland, Alabama, was under the gun earlier. A couple warnings that were in Henry County earlier, and now let's give you the idea of the active warnings. Just kind of reset and take a look at the active warnings that we have across this area. So that one that's to the west of Blakely near the Headland, Alabama area, the other one south of Fort Gaines, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's moving out of northeastern Henry County into Clay County. So this is another round of severe weather for you. And again, we have that storm in Quitman County that's moved out of Quitman County into northern parts of Randolph County, and also up towards southern Chattahoochee County. Just remarkable to see Mother Nature overachieving with these storms today. Just the right ingredients, or wrong ingredients, depending on your perspective, to have these tornadoes in June that are at least showing up on radar. Now, we haven't had one confirmed for a couple hours now, and we haven't had one confirmed or very much damage in our coverage area, but we're certainly keeping an eye on that one. Let's focus on the storm up toward southern portions of Chattahoochee County, I should say, along 27. Again, the 27 corridor kind of getting hit hard at the moment. So this particular storm is moving into the southeastern part of the county. Heavy rain. This is a lot messier than some of those first tornado warnings that we had earlier, where you might have actually seen the tornado, where we had the observed tornado in Abbeville at about 10:30 Central Time. That has not the case anymore. There's a lot of rain with this now, and some lightning as well. So you need to be seeking shelter, as this storm is in southeastern Chattahoochee County, moving toward Marion County. No warning for you yet, but I want to keep an eye on this particular area. Let's see if we can turn the loop on and just show a 30-minute loop of all these storms kind of moving from the west toward the east and slightly to the northeast over the last little bit. And basically, not only has there been a lot of lightning, but a lot of gusty winds. And again, the storm that's in question, you can almost see just that mean-looking appendage to some of these storms today that are not characteristic of our area. Sometimes not even in the spring, but we certainly have a lot of tornado warnings at this point that are kind of littering the Highway 27 corridor. So if you have any folks that are traveling in this particular area that you know are going through south of the Casita area, make sure that they are safe. You can get in touch with them and make sure that they're not trying to outrun this thing. They may be hearing the warning bulletins on their phone, but a lot of the worst of this is now just on this particular storm, just east of 27. Let's zoom out just a little bit and show you, again, where we had some wind damage earlier this morning. We had that confirmed tornado near Abbeville. We'll go back to the radar loop. Sorry about that, Alley-Ann. We'll go back to the radar and show you the storms in question. Basically, that we're seeing storm coming out of Henry County, storm moving out of Quitman County into northern portions of Randolph County. We also have that storm in southeastern Chattahoochee County and beginning to border Marion County. Let's see the active warnings one more time. time and to see what we're looking at. So again, those are the 3 warnings that are included in our coverage area. There's another one just to the southwest of that, near Blakely. I don't want to leave out the folks that are under that thunderstorm warning. It looks like it has been extended now, actually. Severe thunderstorm warning has been extended into Marion County for that cell that basically is moving toward the east, toward Buena Vista. So let's go to Derek Kincaid with more on his analysis.
Tyler, thanks. Yeah, again, looking at that, I think good news there is because the Weather Service put out that severe thunderstorm warning, that system has lost a bit of its rotation in southern Chattahoochee County, so I think they feel comfortable not extending the tornado warning over. However, embedded areas of strong wind gusts are still possible regardless of whether you have a tornado or not, and those winds can still cause tornado-like damage, so that's why we would encourage you to treat these storms, maybe treat them a little more serious than you would a normal quote-unquote severe thunderstorm warning today. If you're in Buena Vista, maybe get ready to get to that safe place if you need to. Certainly, when you're under a tornado watch, these storms could quickly ramp back up, cycle back up, and produce a storm that's producing a tornado. But again, the warning for Marion County now a severe thunderstorm warning as that rotation has weakened a bit with that storm in Chattahoochee County that has come just south of the city of Casita, very near Renfro right now. That warning, by the way, the severe thunderstorm warning expires at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, getting a report in the chat with our friends at the National Weather Service, there was some damage in Hunter's Inlet, which is in Barber County. That is very near the river, very near the Lake Eufaula area there, and that is just south of downtown Eufaula. So that was a storm that came through earlier. In fact, that warning now extends over into Quitman County. It is no longer a confirmed tornado, but that has had a history of producing damage. We know that at least for some period of time, that storm was on the ground. And there you see that warning. That one expires at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, too. That includes the city of Benevolence. It includes Highway 27 north of Cuthbert in Randolph County. So we encourage you there to seek shelter immediately if you're not there already. And a couple of, again, warnings on our southern fringes of the area, southern Clay County. That includes Bluffton. Once again, anywhere along Highway 27 in Clay County, we encourage you to be in a safe spot. That also includes Calhoun County, Georgia. That's not in our coverage area. So the news a little bit better tonight in terms of the idea that we no longer have any tornadoes confirmed, but these are still being detected by radar. It looks like that, again, we're looking at now the tornado warning has been expired for Chattahoochee and Stewart County. So that's good news. The Weather Service just allowing that to expire about a minute ago. So that should disappear from the map here pretty soon. So there's no longer a tornado warning for Chattahoochee or Stewart County. In fact, the Weather Service in Tallahassee canceling the warning now for Quitman and Randolph County. So some very good news for us there. Only one real active warning to tell you about. That's down here in southern Clay County. And remember, once we get rid of the tornado warnings, we can probably get you back to regular programming, perhaps for at least a little while. And would think that we might have to be back on the TV side here for you as we continue to see new storms fire up and move in a little bit later on. But hopefully the idea would be that we lose our tornado threat maybe over the course of the next 5 to 6 hours. And then tonight we'll still have that damaging wind and hail threat with some of those storms that are going to be moving through. But here's the storm of concern. And honestly, it looks like the worst of it is just outside of our coverage area. We're looking at the radar view here in the Next Gen Radar Network. That it looks like it's crossing south of Bluffton. It looks like it is out of Clay County. In fact, it is. The circulation that we're talking about out of our coverage area, but still southern Clay County is under that warning. But that's the storm of concern right now. I tell you what, if you are in, and I'll go back and we'll do a bit of a loop on this for the last 30 minutes or so, and we can see where this thing has been going on. Let me slow that down a bit for you too, and we will see, get a better point of view on where that thing has been going. So this is that that tornado warning that is in southern Clay County, or it includes southern Clay County. There it is. So if you're in Bluffton, I would say you still need to be in a safe spot. This looks like the area of Clay County that would be under the gun would be right here, this far southeastern corner of Clay County. That's where I think we've got the highest threat for a tornado in the next little bit. That warning, by the way, expires 2 o'clock Eastern time, but we'll see if the Weather Service wants to continue that. That's going to cross Highway 27 here very soon. So again, this is a storm that is out of the coverage area, but it's going to move in perhaps to far southern Clay County. And elsewhere, again, the active tornado warnings have been allowed to expire or they have been canceled. We're still getting that warning showing up in Chattahoochee, but that was allowed to expire. The Weather Service canceled that, so you can ignore that tornado warning there. The only active warning we have, tornado warning-wise, southern Clay County. Now, it is interesting to note this warning. You see, this is the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Clay County, parts of Henry County, Alabama. That has the white outline. That tells us a tornado is possible, that there is rotation within that storm, but maybe not strong enough to call it a tornado warning. So we've got to watch that as that storm continues to push in to northern Clay County within the next little bit. Let me put the radar view back up here for you. We'll kind of reset. That storm not looking as impressive. You see that moving into northern Clay County right there, just north of Fort Gaines. But I think we're still, again, have our eye on that storm that is impacting very far southern Clay County. Once we can get that one out of the way, we might be able to send you back to regular programming in the next little bit. I tell you what, we've got a better view here now, again, with our radar in Americas. Let's check that out. As we see these storms coming in, we mentioned Marion County earlier. That is still what we would consider a hook echo right here in the back of that storm, but once again, there's no tornado-type signature showing up as of now with that. But let's take a look at that. You can still see, yeah, it doesn't look like there's any tight circulation there. When you see the reds and the greens more along a line like you see there, that tells us it might be more of a wind issue than a tornado issue. Of course, localized strong winds in a tornado, more of just a broad wind concern with that storm. And it's still, that's a dangerous concern. We don't want to, again, downplay something like that, but we're just telling you that it's good that the tornado risk seems to be a little bit lower with that particular storm. And again, we have been in continuous coverage off and on now for several hours here in the Storm Team 9 Alert Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid. Tyler Allender's been in here. Allie Ann McCord back in the office as well. And Dana Barker's been helping us this morning. We've got a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces on a summer day that has been very interesting for a summer day. This is typically, again, what we would talk about or what we would see in springtime. We're getting here in June with these supercell thunderstorms with the very strong winds aloft in our atmosphere, something that we just don't typically see very often this time of year. The National Weather Service now down in Tallahassee, they're saying that the warning for Calhoun, Early, and Clay County is going on. So let's look at that. They may have issued a new warning, or at least they have updated their old warning there. Yeah, so this is another warning that's coming in. You see that severe thunderstorm warning just canceled. So now we only have 2 active tornado warnings. And yeah, this one was updated. So this now expires at 2:15. And you saw the box that I drew earlier there for you in southern parts of Clay County. That's the only part of Clay County now that's under the warning. Let's zoom in down there. If you live anywhere along Highway 27 near Bluffton, you're kind of in line for this. You are in that danger zone. We encourage you to be in your safe place now. Anywhere near Union Church, Vincent Church there. And again, those are communities along Highway 27 in southern Clay County. Green Street, we encourage you to be in a safe spot. County Road 32, looks like Bermuda Road or Bermuda Bend there. Shepherd Street, any of those streets in and around the city of Bluffton, Bluffton Methodist Church, Friendship Church, those areas need to be in a safe place now as this storm moves on through. But once again, that's going to be passing over into Calhoun County, Georgia pretty soon, and that'll be out of our coverage area. Elsewhere, we don't have any additional news to report. It looks like otherwise, the only damage report I have for you is that one down in Hunter's Inlet, which is just south of downtown Eufaula. So that's the only damage report that I'm seeing coming in at the moment. We encourage you, too, after these storms move out, if you have pictures, if you have video of what happened, we'd love to see it. We don't want you to go out and try to get that done while this storm is moving in. We want you to be safe first, and then after it's over, if you can get us some pictures or video to help confirm what happened, that is a fantastic part of helping with the warning process. We can pass that information along. The next time this scenario pops up again, the Weather Service can say, oh, look, well, we had damage when it happened this time, so maybe they're going to be more likely or less likely to issue a warning in those cases. So again, that confirmation of what happened when it comes to whether it's a tree down, whether it's hail, whatever it is, That is a very important thing for us here in the office. New warning just popping up now. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. They're saying tornado possible with that. And again, that's just about all the storms today have had that kind of feel to them. But that is a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 Eastern time. Now, that only includes far eastern sections of Randolph County. That looks like it's going to be just to the east of downtown Cuthbert. Let's pull up the radar view for you one more time, and we will look at that. That storm, once again, as it moves on through, is providing some very strong wind gusts. Again, you could get winds 60 miles per hour today, 70 miles per hour today, and then later on tonight, I think there is at least potential for winds, maybe even isolated stronger gusts than that with some of the bigger storms that will be moving on through. This storm not looking very impressive at the moment on the radar network, and again, this is going to be a closer view than we've had before with these kinds of storms. So this is coming from Americus, shooting down into that storm. The worst of the weather passing very near Shellman here pretty soon, but we don't see a big tornado-type signature with that. We will still keep a very close eye on that for you over the next little bit to see if that ramps up in intensity. Still strong winds coming through Marion County. That storm does not look, again, as impressive as it did, say, I don't know, a little while ago, about 30 minutes or so ago. But you can still see, again, somewhat that hook echo that we're talking about, that area of reflectivity. That's the rain that we're showing you. It always looks like a bunch of spilled paint on the radar, but where you see the bright colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, that's the heavy rain that we're tracking for you. And again, sometimes you get the stronger winds in that too. Buena Vista, this is impacting you now. Areas south of town along Highway 41, this is impacting you too. So anywhere in here in southern Marion County, you're going to get some strong winds. You're going to get, once again, very heavy rain, intense lightning. But the tornado risk low for now. We will still watch that carefully for you. Let's pull the view out one more time and get kind of a bigger picture perspective on here for you. Also, we don't want to downplay the rain coming in today to work. The roads in Columbus, very, very wet, very flooded in spots. You know the normal trouble spots. If you've been around in the city before, you know where those places are. Those are certainly flooding now. And remember, there is potential for additional rain on the way. That's going to continue to create a flooding concern for us. So we've talked about how the tornado threat in the past few days wasn't our main concern, and that's only because it's not the most widespread concern. Flooding, heavy rain, going to be a big issue. We're going to have that wind threat later on with some of these storms. It could be a bigger, more widespread type issue. So those are the things that we've got to keep our eye on as we get into tonight. That flooding concern, I think, will continue to become a problem as we track additional storms through the area. Let's put the loop on here for you. This is the last 3 hours. You can see these storms as they made their way into the Chattahoochee Valley. Numerous storms. The radar view right now looking a little messier. And that's good. We don't like to have these things out by themselves. We would prefer if they would cluster together, kind of cut off that energy that they would have. In fact, right now, a lot of our East Alabama counties, the weather is somewhat quiet. Yes, there's still some rain moving in, but it looks a little quieter than it was, say, a little while ago. In fact, let me pull up the bigger picture, the satellite and the radar view here for you, because I want to show you what's happening to our north and west. What we've got to watch now, these storms coming down the line. So you see little clusters here and there of these storms. We've got to watch all of these as they start to move in a little bit later on this evening and tonight. There might be a bit of a break in the action here in the next little bit, and then we'll have to watch these storms as they continue to form and move this way. As Tyler has talked about today, there's that front that's draped across the area. That's the boundary. That's the focus for these storms. And they're all riding along it like a train track. So that's why we're continuing to get these areas of storms coming in. The good news, I think, for us, these storms coming through now, using up a lot of energy in the atmosphere. So perhaps that could mean the ones that come through a bit later on tonight may not be as potent. We can't make that promise at this point. We still have to treat it like we're going to have additional rounds of strong to severe storms later on tonight into the overnight hours. Make sure you stay near that source of weather information tonight, and make sure you have something that can wake you up overnight should a warning threaten. NOAA Weather Radio is always one of the best ways to do that. Our weather app is a great way to do that if it can wake you up. But if it can't, you got to have something that can wake you up, can get your attention for those storms.